Damn.
Hello everybody, welcome everybody. It's the Political Jargon Show. I'm Eddie Quintana, your host of the Political Jargon Show. A lot of stuff to catch up on. I basically just want to talk about Charlottesville. That's really the only thing in the news right now other than the North Korea thing, but the North Korea thing is kind of being overtaken by the Charlottesville thing, so I just want to give my 2 cents on this whole Charlottesville mess. But yeah, here we go. Welcome to the show, everybody. How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday? I believe it's a Tuesday. We're moving along. Things are happening. A lot of things are happening, actually. So, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So, Charlottesville. A lot of stuff happened in Charlottesville over the weekend. It was a weekend event, and a lot of stuff that we need to talk about, and I need to give my 2 cents in because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about, and I mean, I can't add more to something like everything's been said about this. You know, people have defended Trump, people have not defended Trump, people have tore into Trump, people have thought whatever. But first of all, I would just like to give a massive shout out to the Republicans, like Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Chuck Grassley. You know, they've all condemned Trump, and they've condemned these actions by calling it out by name. So good job on the Republicans there on that point. I think what they said. Ted Cruz is another one who said something. I don't know. Maybe I said him. Maybe I didn't. But what he said was good. What he said was good, and I liked it a lot. But let's go ahead and just continue into this. So the very first thing I want to talk about, I want to talk about Trump's response because it's mind blowing. It's baffling. It's amazingly bad. It's amazingly. I'm not going to be as critical of it because I think. Let me just play you the response, okay? Let me just go ahead and play you the response here. So this is our president speaking.
We have so many incredible things happening in our country. So when I watch Charlottesville, to me it's very, very sad. I want to salute the great work of the state and local police in Virginia. Incredible people. Law enforcement, incredible people. And also the National Guard. They've really been working smart and working hard. They've been doing a terrific job. Federal authorities are also providing tremendous support to the governor. He thanked me for that. And we are here to provide whatever other assistance is needed. We are ready, willing, and able.
Okay, that's not the one I obviously wanted to talk about. But I can't find it.
But we're closely following the terrible events unfolding in Charlottesville, Virginia. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
Okay. First of all, on many sides, what does that even mean? Like, what are the sides? What are the two sides? The Black Lives Matter, Antifa versus neo-Nazis, KKK, neo-Confederates? Like, are those the sides you're talking about? Because, listen, I don't agree with Antifa, but I agree with the idea of Black Lives Matter and what the majority of Black Lives Matter does. And, you know, who else was out there? Like the gays, like the LGBT people were out there as well. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Black Lives Matter, yes, does a lot of crappy, disgusting, violent things, and I don't believe in violence. So punching Nazis is not okay unless they punch you first. But you do have to realize that the core message of Black Lives Matter is still there. You know, the leaders of Black Lives Matter have condemned all sorts of different things. And I just want to point out that this is the message of Black Lives Matter. This right here is the entire message of Black Lives Matter. If I didn't tell you that and I showed you this picture, I don't think anybody would be in disagreement with me over these are the things that somebody, Campaign Zero, wants to do to stop police brutality. And it doesn't even have to be against a particular kind of race. Okay? So it's a false dichotomy to assume that Black Lives Matter is the same as neo-Nazi, neo-Confederate white supremacists. No, they're not. This is what they believe. The leaders of Black Lives Matter joined with Campaign Zero because they agree with these. So, sure, maybe some black people who got too violent and started burning down their cities and started burning cars and causing a ruckus and being violent and starting riots. Sure, maybe they can associate themselves with Black Lives Matter, but they're not Black Lives Matter. Just like the KKK can claim they're Christian, but they're not fully Christian. These are not Black Lives Matter. This is Black Lives Matter. This is what Black Lives Matter is about. This is the 10 things, which I don't even think you can argue with a lot of these things, you know. Limited use of force. Yes, we always say the training is bad. Demilitarization. Yes, you're the police, not the military. You know, independently investigate and prosecute. Yes, a lot of these times the cops who do these shootings are investigated and the dude doing the investigation is buddies and had dinner with him on Wednesday, him and his family. So of course they're not going to. Training and for-profit policing, body cams, you know, community representation, and broken windows policing. Yes, what's wrong with all of these things? You know what the neo-Confederates stand for? You know what neo-Nazis stand for? You know what white supremacists stand for? That's the thing. There's these good things, these policies of Black Lives Matter that are good, which is why I somewhat agree with Black Lives Matter. I would want them to be, yes, obviously more vocal against the violence that's happening in the name of Black Lives Matter, but on average, this is what people who started Black Lives Matter and who are actually in Black Lives Matter, this is what they believe. These are the 10 things right here. What do neo-Nazis believe? What's one good thing neo-Nazis believe? What's one good thing a white supremacist believes? That Steve Bannon is a white supremacist, believes that there are too many Asian CEOs in Silicon Valley. He did an interview with Trump where he said that, and even Trump was like, "Hey, listen, man, that's a little too far, okay? You know, I want the best of the best, so I'm not racist." You know, he literally said, "We have too many Asians in Silicon Valley. We need to protect ourselves." They all associated themselves with Trump. Now, I'm not saying Trump associated with them. Obviously not. That's not exactly nowhere near what I'm saying, but Trump obviously said some things to get these people on his side and voted for him. These people voted for him. So that's what I don't understand. It's a false dichotomy. I can't think of the word. I'm thinking of false flag because of Alex Jones, but it's not fair. You know, I can't think of the word, the like real term to describe comparing two things on the same, even though they're not. I forget the word, but Black Lives Matter, the idea of Black Lives Matter to the idea of white supremacists is not the same. Okay? What's one good thing a white supremacist believes? Nothing. There's nothing. Okay? So that's not the only response I want to get to. Here's a nice overview by the New York Times. First of all, I would like to point out that, yeah, punches were thrown. punches were thrown, and I obviously disagree with violence, and I'm going to condemn whoever started the violence, whether it be a Black Lives Matter, Antifa, neo-Nazi, a white supremacist. Doesn't matter to me. But someone ran a car into a street of peaceful protesters. I'm not showing you the video. It's too graphic. I've seen it 3 or 4 times. I'm not showing it to you. You can find it on almost any website. A white supremacist drove his car down a street of peaceful protesters. Early reports said that he was driving away from the violence of Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the counter protesters or whatever. That was later debunked when 3 different video angles came out. He was literally driving down an empty street and then ran into a crowd of people on purpose. Like, first of all, these white supremacists and neo-Nazis absolutely hate the religion of Islam and radical Islamic terrorists. Dude, that's their MO. How many times has France or England been attacked by someone who ran a car into a group of people? And that's the shit I can't stand. The media will run 24/7 with a radical Islamic terrorist attack. When a car drives into a building, the guy gets out, pulls out a shotgun, starts shooting, and the cops eventually take him down. Or he pulls out a knife, and some brave ass civilians come up and do the right thing and take him down. They will run with it. He ran a car in. Oops, white people did it. It's like not that big of a deal, whatever. It's like, shit happens, They use the exact same MO as ISIS. The exact same MO as ISIS. Meaning they are terrorists. They're terrorists. Call them what they are. They're terrorists. White people, these neo-Confederates, neo-Nazis, fucking white supremacists, thinking they're the most American thing to walk down the street, even though they literally side with a country that's separated from the United States of America, the most anti-American thing you can do. They're terrorists. They are terrorists. And the thing with this, the bullshit with this stupid ass explanation by this man is that he criticized, and the right criticized somewhat fairly, that Obama didn't call it radical Islamic terrorists. There's some validity to that. But then he goes up and talks out of both sides of his mouth because he's an establishment politician now. He's nowhere near the anti-establishment politician people voted him for. He literally said he didn't name it by name. So it's now, by Republicans' own logic, valid to criticize him because he didn't name it by name. He didn't call out the first time he went up there. It took him how long? To do something like this? Oh my God. And my final point, why are we talking about some lonely ass neo-Nazis in the year 2017? Why are we talking? Who cares? Like, we're talking about it obviously because we got to point it out, and it's a violent act, and these people literally killed somebody. Killed them. They killed them. They're dead. The one person's dead. A Bernie supporter, an activist all her life. I think her name is Heather Hayes, something like that. I think Heather Hayes was it. Activist all her life, Bernie supporter, peaceful, died. They're dead. Sometimes these ISIS people do the car shit, MO. And sometimes they don't even kill anybody, or they injure somebody, but still the media will run with it, even if they just injure somebody. 3 people died, 2 of them cops, in a helicopter, I think, helicopter accident during that time. I don't think anybody on both sides did anything with those, but 2 cops did die. But I'm going to focus on the one person who got run over by a terrorist, and the media isn't running with it. And if they are running with it, they're not calling it white domestic terrorism. Radical white, radical Confederate, radical Nazi, radical white supremacist terrorism. They're not calling it by that. They're just, car hits into group of counter protesters, 1 dead, lone man drives car into crowded counter protesters in Charlottesville. You know, if ISIS did this, oh my God, the media would run with it forever. But that's the problem with it. And then, of course, let's continue with this dumbass.
It's been going on for a long time in our country. Not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. This has been going on for a long, long time. It has no place in America. What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order and the protection of innocent lives. No citizen should ever fear for their safety and security in our society. And no child should ever be afraid to go outside and play.
I would just like to point out that I don't know what that means, because no child was injured during this attack. A woman was hurt, but I mean, like, what does that have to do with anything? You know what I mean?
Or be with their parents and have a good time. I just got off the phone with the governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, and we agreed that the hate and the division must stop, and must stop right now. We have to come together as Americans with love for our nation and true affection, really, and I say this so strongly, true affection for each other. Our country is doing very well in so many ways. We have record, just absolute record employment. We have unemployment, the lowest it's been in almost 17 years. We have companies pouring into our country, Foxconn and car companies and so many others. They're coming back to our country. We're renegotiating trade deals to make them great for our country and great for the American worker. We have so many incredible things happening in our country. So when I watch Charlottesville, to me, it's very, very sad.
Sad.
I want to salute the great work of the state.
I'm waiting for a particular part here.
Incredible people. Law
because
incredible people. And also the National Guard.
He's not saying it.
They've really been, we are here to provide whatever other assistance. Remember this truth. No matter our color, creed, religion, or political party, we are all Americans first.
Okay.
We love our country. We love our God. We love our flag. We're proud of our country. We love our country.
He said
creed,
it, I think.
Religion, or political party. We are all Americans first. We love our country. We love our God.
I don't
we love
understand.
Our flag. We're proud of our country. We're proud of who we are. So we want to get the situation straightened out in Charlottesville, and we want to study it. And we want to see what we're doing wrong as a country where things like this can happen. My administration is restoring the sacred bonds of loyalty between this nation and its citizens.
Come on.
But our citizens must also restore the bonds of trust and loyalty between one another.
Come on.
We must love each other, respect each other, and cherish our history.
There it
and
is.
Our future together.
What does cherish our history mean? What does that mean? Cherish our history. Is that a little hint of I'm not going to condemn the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists? Is that it? Is that what he's talking about? You know, so I that's just a question I want to bring up. What does he mean by that? I'm not criticizing him. I'm not praising him. I just want to know what he means by cherish our history. Because if he's talking about, oh, we got to cherish our history of the Confederate flag and, you know, what the Confederacy means, I don't know if we have to cherish it. I think we have to think about it. I think we have to talk about it. I don't know if we have to cherish it. That's a very particular word. So here's a few pictures of the car that ran into the other ones. Here's, all these different pictures. One of the like most ironic but grotesque pictures at the same time was a cop standing in front of barricades, and you saw white people with the Confederate flag and Nazis, and it's a black cop, and someone was like, a black cop defending racists their right to say that they're better than him. So it was absolutely disgusting. You probably saw the people on social media, but now I want to get to this, okay? This is what sends me over the edge, and this is why I put blame onto Donald Trump for, even though I know I shouldn't. But the Daily Stormer came out with a response to Trump's response that I just played for you, and this is what gets me. Indirectly, Trump is feeding these crazy terrorists, and you can't blame him, but at the same time, if he just said the words, I don't even know. So, less than a half an hour after Trump's live remarks, the Daily Stormer had declared the president's work as a signal of tactic support for their side. Trump's comments were good. He didn't attack us. He just said the nation should come together. Nothing specific against us. He said that we need to study why people are so angry, and he implied that there was hate on both sides. So he implied the Antifa are haters. There was virtually no counter-signaling of us at all. He said he loves us all. No condemnation at all, the Daily Stormer wrote. When asked to condemn, Trump just walked out of the room. Really, really good. God bless him. And then, of course, David Duke saying he's wanting to fulfill Donald Trump's promises of taking the country back. And so, but the Daily Stormer, when he asked to condemn, he just walked out of the room. Really, really good. God bless him. That's disgusting. Like, they're happy he walked out of the room when a reporter, I believe it was CNN, asked him to condemn it, specifically against the neo-Nazis. Dude, it's so easy. You just turn around and go, yeah, the neo-Nazis, I condemn them. I condemn the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, the neo-Confederates. I condemn them all. It's so gross. It's so gross. And then this is annoying at the same time because many of those people were there to protest the taking down of statue of Robert E. Lee, Mr. Trump said. This week, it is Robert E. Lee. And this week, Stonewall Jackson. Is it George Washington next? You have to ask yourself, where does it stop? Where does it stop? Very bad. Very bad. Dude, are you comparing Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson to George Washington? Robert E. Lee left the United States. Now, Robert E. Lee changed his mind. He paced back and forth. Apparently, it's reported, or it's been told, that the day his state seceded from the Union, he paced back and forth all night. So, there's more of an open debate with Robert E. Lee, but the point still stands. He was willing to fight to keep slavery intact. He was fighting for his state's right to keep slaves as 3/5 of a human. So, why are you comparing him to George Washington? George Washington had slaves and was slaveholders, but he also fought a war to get the country that you live in, and the country that, when the times were changing, Robert E. Lee didn't like the change and fought a war against. He's a founding father, and I don't know, is that fair of me to say you can't compare them? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, would that be fair of me to say? You know, I'm not sure, but so I want to get to this because this is so fucking dumb. This is so fucking stupid. I hate this. This is so dumb. Okay. Fox News guest. The Confederate flag and LGBTQ pride flag represent the exact same thing. Oh my god. What the fuck? What? What the fuck? Okay, like, of course it's on Fox Influence.
And those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
There's the president in the White House yesterday, once again condemning the violence in Charlottesville on Saturday, this time naming some of the hate groups involved. But that apparently not good enough for some on the political left. Here to discuss is Star Parker, founder and president of the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, joins us from our nation's capital. Star, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let's start at the beginning. Did you think that the president's comments on Saturday, the day of this particular event, were too vague and not appropriate?
No, actually, I thought they were very appropriate and on point. The point at that point was that the alt-right and the alt-left met in an American city over a very local issue. It escalated into a riot very quickly, and he needed to calm it down before it spread across the country. No, he was exactly on point. There is an alt-right and there is a alt-left, and this war between the two sides has been going on for an awful long time.
You're describing a culture war, Star.
It is a culture war. And when you think about it, David Duke, he thinks that the president is dog whistling him that we're going to go back to the Confederacy is just as wrong as the hard left that thinks that this country is not about traditions, limited government, open and free markets, and e pluribus unum, many becoming one, not the multiculturalism and diversity that they keep promoting. No, there is a cultural war, and it is escalating, and so Americans must rally around the fact that we do not want to end up in a civil war.
Right.
We battle in the voting booth. We battled in the voting booth last November. The alt-left lost, and they are pretty upset about it.
The president sent out a couple of tweets yesterday. Here is one of them. Made additional remarks on Charlottesville and realized once again that the fake news media will never be satisfied. Truly bad people. What do you think about that?
I think that there is an alt-left media as well, and its challenge for us is to sort through which is legitimate media, even if they're center-left and they're mainstreamed. When you think about the alt, it is the extreme of both sides, and yes, he is not getting a fair play with the alt-left because what he was trying to address on Saturday is very different than whether he agrees with people or people group or individuals that voted for him or not. The president did not decide who gets to vote for him. The only place that the president can speak into who does not get to vote is when that voter is illegal, not when it is a legal vote cast. So this left-wing media that has a narrative that they're going to do any and everything to disrupt this presidency, it has to be confronted, and that's what he is doing.
What do you think about Nancy Pelosi, who made this statement yesterday? It shouldn't take the president of the United States 2 days to summon the basic decency to condemn murder and violence by Nazis and white supremacists.
That is not what happened. Nancy Pelosi is exploiting an opportunity that they think will play to their side. On Saturday, there were two sides that were in an American city then it was escalating very rapidly. No, the question became then, well, do you denounce the one part of it? But you know what's really interesting and a really incredible irony here is the same people that are demanding that the Confederate flag comes down are the same people that are insisting that the rainbow flag goes up. These two flags represent the exact same thing, that certain people groups are not welcome here. So if Nancy Pelosi wants to say that we're going to start shutting down First Amendment rights of a certain group of people, then what happens the next time that the homosexuals want to walk through an American city and protest and counter-protesters come out?
All right. Star Parker joining us today from Washington, D.C. Star, thank you very much.
What? No. Oh my head hurts. Oh my God, what? No. That certain people groups are not welcome here. With the rainbow flag, who isn't welcome? That's my next question. And she would probably go, "Oh, the right, the evangelical right, the religious right." I'd be like, "No, you are welcome here. Just because you don't want to be here because of that, because of the rainbow flag, doesn't mean that the rainbow people don't want you here." You know? That's an amazing twist of words. She's basically saying, you know, the Confederacy, which literally made black people 3/5 of a person, and they couldn't vote, and they're slaves, and they have no rights, and we're better than them because we are white, and that's basically the only reason why we can come up with, is the same as the LGBT rainbow flag that says, "Hey man, you shouldn't be able to have laws that says I can marry or not marry." Is that too much to ask? You know, equality under the law, literally the 14th Amendment. So this is all just a mess, and I can't stand any of it. I'm going to end with this. Why are we talking about Nazis in 2017? You know, who cares? You know, they obviously should be condemned. They killed somebody. They're terrorists, of course, but we got to move on. Okay, guys, that was it. Thank you. Have a great night or day or afternoon or whatever. See you guys later.